Welcome back to Ion South Asia. Sanjiv, there's more on the innovation front. We actually had a lot of stories before the break talking about innovation and discoveries and all that sort of thing.
And achievements.
And achievements.
And this certainly is a big achievement by an Indian.
Yes, so it actually seems like a significant medical breakthrough in the fight against tuberculosis or
Right.
TB. An Indian researcher at Stanford University, his name is Bikul Das, he's researched and discovered why TB seems to be resistant after aggressive treatment. So meanwhile, TB is being considered very curable for the most part.
Right.
Still, it kills about 2 million people around the globe.
Mm-hmm.
And typically, patients take like a 6-month treatment, but oftentimes they find that the disease comes back and it just relapses. So he says that the TB bacteria actually hides in a group of stem cells in the bone marrow, and that's really his discovery. So he says that when it hides in the bone marrow outside the reach of antibiotics and the body's own immune system, once the medication wears off, the bacteria actually comes out of hiding.
Correct.
And it takes advantage of the body's own mechanism to self-renew.
Well, he has been researching on this since last 15 years. Until now, I think all the medical experts and what they have commented is they know where TB bacteria hides. So after 15 years of research, Mr. Bikul Das finds out that TB bacteria hides in a group of stem cells inside the bone marrow. So now all these so-called medical experts are saying that now we know where this TB bacteria hides in it, so we'll be able to find it, we'll be able to cure it, and hopefully there will be no TB medical cases in the world.
Yeah, hopefully, and Das says, armed with this new information, now they just need to find out why this bacteria comes back again.
Okay.
So they're going to be kind of working on that next phase into this whole tuberculosis phenomenon.
Okay, and speaking of phenomenon, this is something interesting. Queen's College, our local college here at Queen's, they actually have a program on India, and that will be going on till June to embrace and to understand the complexity and vitality of our world. They come up with these culture programs, and now they have come up with this program on India, and there will be several events which will include exhibitions, a film series and performances, and student-sponsored activities on culture, sports, and a daily life. That means Indian culture will be showcased, will be shown to the other people, and that way, basically, to give Indian culture more recognition and identity. That's why Queen's College is offering this program, and it will continue till June.
Right, and they're also offering some courses for credit as well, and they're having like a 3-study tour to India. So
they have
that's great
several
news.
events lined up, between now and June.
Excellent. And speaking of recognition with Indian community,
first of its kind, that we're gonna see exhibition to showcase achievements of Indian Americans. This exhibition will actually start, I think, later in the year. That's when it's scheduled to be, and it's going to be at Smithsonian Museum.
Smithsonian Museum of Natural Science and History.
Right.
So over a 2-year period, the exhibition is expected to draw more than 7 million visitors. And as you said, they're starting in 2015.
No, they are starting later this year. Scheduled
Or
to open.
their tour is actually in 2015.
The tour, it's going to go on for 2 years, but it is actually scheduled to open later this year. And this exhibition called Beyond Bollywood, Indian Americans Shape the Nation. That's what it is. And will bring to life the rich history of immigrants from India and Indian Americans in the US and detail their many contributions to America. And one of the title sponsors of this exhibition is TV Asia, because TV Asia connects Indian Americans, daily through their, I think, homegrown channel. And TV Asia also is celebrating 20th year in the US. So TV Asia has become part of this first of its kind exhibition, which is a unique exhibition, and I can't wait to go and see it.
Right. I think it should be very exciting and interesting. It's interesting that, the whole Indian American story and journey hasn't been very long, but yet they've earned their place into the Smithsonian Museum. So, be sure to check that out. All right, so our big event for last weekend and still ongoing with celebrations is Republic Day, of course. And there have been several celebrations with that. Of course, probably they all had rung the bell at NASDAQ last week. And of course, the 64th Republic Day was celebrated at the Permanent Mission of India to the UN in New York.
Right.
So,
well, they do it every year, though.
Yeah, of course.
So January 26th, January 26, 2013 marked India's 64th Republic Day.
Yes.
And then every year, consulate, they organize an event to celebrate Republic Day as well as Independence Day. So again, this year was no different than any other, and Consul General Prabhu Dayal, who actually took a lead and welcomed the guest and read out excerpts from President Pranav Mukherjee's address to the nation, which on this day, President addresses the nation, and on Independence Day, Prime Minister addresses the nation. So this was an event where it was, I think, attended by many community leaders altogether. Over 250 people attended India's Republic Day celebration in New York.
Excellent. And of course, there are many other celebrations as well, official and unofficial. So that reminds me of one of the stories that we talked about last week. Speaking of celebration, we're talking about the Culinary Battles. So I understand that you went to this event this week.
The Culinary Battles, the final actually took place this past Monday in Atlantic City. And this was after 3 weeks, I believe. First week, the regional competition was in Chicago, followed by Atlantic City. And then a final regional competition was in Philadelphia. So the winners of these 3 regional competitions were actually invited for this finale this past Monday. And they had 2 categories, East Asian chef and the South Asian chef.
Okay.
This was organized at Caesars Casino, because Dish Network and Caesars got together, and for the very first time this Culinary Battle competition was organized, and it was a very interesting event. We have some interesting footage for our viewers, because we were allowed to go in the kitchen behind the scenes while some of the chefs were cooking, and the chefs were introduced in a highly professional manner, I should say. And it was a very interesting event to see it. And of course, there were about 6 judges who were actually judging each chef's special dish that they made out. So from South Asian chef, there were 3 chefs, Senthil Kumar Rajasekaran, who actually won the Atlantic City regional competition, Silva Senet, who is actually born in Haiti, a French-speaking individual, works at Tushan restaurant in Philadelphia.
Okay.
He had won competition in Philadelphia. And then Mr. Nirmal Singh of Chicago, he had come here because after winning Chicago competition. So this was interesting. And on the East Asian chef, there was a Tim Su, then Sai Pituk, and Pete Payapu. Those 3 were there. And on the South Asian chef finalist, to surprise everybody, Sylvia Senat won. Because Sylvia Senat actually, he cooked a fish. And a fish was presented in a fish bowl. So all the judges were kind of impressed at the way he had prepared a dish. And then
the fish was cooked, though, right?
The fish was cooked. The fish was cooked, nicely cooked, and nicely cooked and decorated and put in a fish bowl, and it was served in a fish bowl. So they were actually
That's very creative. Yeah.
They were actually eating out of fish bowl. They were actually eating fish out of fish bowl.
That seems like a new novel idea for Indians. I don't know if it's something that might be, in his own culture.
I mean, he was very creative radio. And
Yeah.
I think we do have a comment from Silva himself after winning this competition. We congratulated him, and he actually works at Tashan restaurant in Philadelphia, and Tashan means style in Hindi.
Okay.
Okay, so that actually goes that why he came up with this idea, because working at a style restaurant, he's got to be stylish.
Right.
Tasha.
So those are all the fun stories that we have for this week.
That's right.
Keep watching us on Ion South Asia week after week on Crossings TV. You can also find us on Facebook and YouTube. Just search for Ion South Asia. So until next week, I'm Bhavna Vanan, signing off.
And I'm Sanjiv Pandya. See you all next week.
And coming up after the break, we have Anjali Sharma on Personality of the Week. She is speaking to Lakshmi Puri, Deputy Executive Director of UN Women.